small city, big village, and it wasn't here at all. It was near Ir David, under the Kotel. We have the map somewhere.
Yeah, where the
Here.
western wall is.
If this is the temple, the place where the temple is, Ir David is this small Ir David, the Canaanite period. This is the small city of Jerusalem. We are about here, very far from here. First temple period. First temple period. David, King David, conquers Yevus, makes it Jerusalem. He needed a different capital for his kingdom. He looked for a capital that wasn't in one of the 12 Shvatim. Tribes. And then he found Yevus. Yevus wasn't Israeli. He conquered it, started his kingdom, his capital here. His son, King Solomon, builds the first temple above the city, above small Jerusalem. Later words, Jerusalem is a little bigger, a little to the west, maybe even until where we're standing now. But Jerusalem was still small. Next era.
Islam not invented yet?
The second temple. What happened to the first temple? In the year 586 BC, we were conquered by the Babylonians and the temple was destroyed. 70 years afterwards, the Persians let us come back to Israel and we built the second temple. At this time, Jerusalem got bigger and bigger and bigger. This is the time of Jesus. Jerusalem was very big. How did the second temple finish? The Romans. Romans came to Israel. The Israelis, the Judeans, called them in. And after several years, there was a rebellion against the Romans. The Romans went and conquered Jerusalem, conquered Israel or Judea again, and they burned the second temple. At this time, Jews couldn't live here. The city was a lot smaller. It's about how the old city is today. This is the Roman era. They changed the name. They called it Ilia Capitolina. They changed the name of the old country. Instead of Israel, instead of Judea, not Israel. Instead of Judea, they called it they called the city Ilia Capitolina, and they called the country Palestine. Till today, we have that problem.
That's for sure.
Well,
That's for sure.
yeah, that's not the first name of the country. The Romans, at some time, were divided into two parts. The western part from Rome, and the eastern part from Byzantium. Now it's in Turkey, and we're still Christian. Jerusalem is Christian. A lot of pilgrimage into Jerusalem. You can see a map. We'll see it upstairs of Jerusalem. It looks almost as we see Jerusalem today. We'll talk about it later. They built the holy. You can see it better here. They built the Holy Sepulchre. That's where Jesus was crucified. Byzantine period. Byzantine period was finished when the Muslims conquered the Christians. They were in Jerusalem, in Israel, and then that was the first Muslim era. That was the first Muslim era in Jerusalem. 1098, the Pope calls the Christians, come conquer Israel. Israel is in the hands of the Muslims. From all over Europe, France, England, Italy, even Germany, different places, Christians come from all over from Europe, come to Jerusalem, conquer Israel, conquer Jerusalem, and that is the Crusader period. They were here for about 200 years, less. You can see all this hall, if you look at the architecture, is built in Crusader architecture. You can see these curves, and you can see all these things. That this hall was from the Crusaders. After the Crusaders, we have the second Muslim era. They conquered the Crusaders. They were here for about 200 years, even less. And they were conquered by the Mamluks. Mamluks are Muslims too. They have an interesting story. You know what? I'll tell it. Mamluks. I'm saying it right? Yeah, Mamluks. I'll talk about them afterwards. They're very interesting people. After the Mamluks, the Ottomans, the Turkish, until about 100 years ago, they were for 400 years. A lot of Jerusalem, a lot of what we see today in Jerusalem was built by the Ottomans. They left a very huge footprint in Jerusalem. Here you can see where we are now, Migdal David, with the Ottoman soldiers. 1917, World War, the First World War. The English come from the south. They conquer Beersheba, they conquer Gaza, and then they start going up into Jerusalem. At some place, at some time, the Ottomans understand, the Turks understand, and the Germans understand they can't guard Jerusalem anymore. They just go east, and then Jerusalem surrenders to General Allenby. I think we have the movie here. Yeah, it should be here somewhere. Here it is.
That's why you have Allenby Street.
That's what we have, a lot of streets in Jerusalem. This is a real movie taken in 1917. You can see Allenby. He got down from his horse and went into Jerusalem. Where this is taken is really here. It's the other entrance to Migdal David. We see the stones until today. This place is really, you can see every window here. We can still see today. 1948, Israel Ben-Gurion declares Israel independence. From then, this is the Israeli era. 19 years it was captured by the Jordanian after 1948 until 1967. But from then, it's an Israeli, we are in Israel. When they built a new museum, they decided that these screens, very nice, but we need something we can hold. We can't touch it, but we need something more, something historic, something real. So we have these vitrines. I want to go over 1, 2, 3. Okay. You can see these cups. Can anyone see these cups? I've heard in Second Temple era. Can anyone see from what these cups are made?
Pottery?
Stone. We would assume it would be pottery. It's normal to be pottery. All the world was pottery. Here they use stone. Why did they use stone? So it's a little strange. But in the Second Temple, a lot of Jerusalem were Kohanim. Kohens. And they worked in the temple. So the Gemara says that in the second temple era, Parza Tahara b'Yisrael. They started keeping Tum'ah and Tahara. In Hebrew, it's called Tum'ah and Tahara. They needed to be purified. They needed to be pure to work in the temple. So one of the ways they used glasses and pots and everything from stone. Stone is always pure. If we use pottery and they touched somebody that touched someone that's dead, we had to break the plate and throw it away. Stone is always pure, so they use stone. They use cups, plates, everything from stone. It's very unique to Israel. If they find something, it's very unique to Jerusalem even. If you find somewhere made of stone from this era, it's somehow Israeli from Jerusalem. So these are these cups. We said the end of the second temple, the Romans conquered Jerusalem and destroyed the second temple. Here we can see a sword, a Roman sword from this era. It was found somewhere in Jerusalem, I'm not sure where. This is a real Roman sword from that era. We have things from all kinds of eras. I want to go. Okay, so this was Mamluks is an interesting story. Okay. It was the Muslim era. The Muslims needed soldiers. So what did they done? They captured all kinds of kids, what they call kafir, kufrim, non-Muslims.
Infidels.
They captured them when they were 7, 8, 9, and made them into soldiers. For 10 years or something like that, they trained them as soldiers, and they fought for them. They made them Muslims, and they made them soldiers. These Mamluks, they were called Mamluks. These Mamluks sometimes saw that they were the majority of the army, they were the majority of the administration. They just captured all the Muslim empire, and they made it a Mamluk empire. So what we see here are hand grenades from that era. The hand grenade was filled with something like the gas that we use for our cars, and had a prime into it from above. They lit it and threw it onto the enemies.
First grenade.
They called it a grenade, but today we would call it a Molotov cocktail. You can see it was very fancy. Not everyone got this Molotov cocktail. Only the commanders got it. It was a symbol of the command. Here, I'm not showing you everything. Here, there's 2 keys. These are the keys of Jerusalem. So we said that the Ottomans were conquered by the English. It's really a funny story. The mayor of Jerusalem was left here. The mayor of Jerusalem, the Ottoman mayor of Jerusalem, was left here to surrender to the Englishmen. And some morning, he took a white flag, went out to surrender. He found 2 soldiers, said, "I want to surrender." The 2 soldiers were 2 cooks that went to look for eggs for their commander's breakfast. They didn't understand what he wants. They came for the eggs. That's the first surrender. So okay, he understood that these ones, they're not the ones he has to surrender to. He waited. He saw some English army patrol. He goes to them. There were sergeants. He surrendered to the sergeants. Sergeant went back to the camp and they said, "Jerusalem surrendered." The officers there in the camp said, "I can surrender to you." And the officers came. There was the third surrender. Then they informed their commanders that Jerusalem surrendered. So they said, "We can't surrender to. We can't do. Jerusalem surrender can't be to some unknown officers." The regiment commander came. That was the 4th surrender. I think it was the 5th surrender. But then Allenby heard that Jerusalem is surrendering. He said, "No, Jerusalem can't surrender after 1,000 years of Muslims conquering Jerusalem. Jerusalem can't surrender in this way." He made a very, very big surrender. He brought soldiers from all kinds of armies. Italians, French, all over the United Kingdom, Australia, New Zealand, South Africa. There was an American there. I'm not even sure what an American soldier did there. You can see it in the movie. All kinds of different armies. He came here with his horse, here in Shaliaf on Jaffa Gate. He went off his horse. He said, I'm not going on a horse into Jerusalem." Went off and by foot went this way to the entrance to Migdal David, there was a big surrender, the last surrender from the Ottomans to the British. Okay, last thing before we go on. Where are you from in the world? Texas. Let's see if we have Texas. Australia. Okay, what we have here, we have the biggest cities. If it worked,
That's okay. You've seen all
you
of
can
these.
press Texas or wherever in
There
the
we go.
States
There we
and
go.
see. Oops, we have something in?
No, that's okay. We'll check.
We have New York. I'm sure we have New York. Now it's moving.
Yeah.
Okay, so we can see exactly how far we are from Jerusalem. What we want to show here that all over the world there's Jews and people that are thinking, Jews and non-Jews, that are thinking about Jerusalem. You can see the exact distance from there to here. We are in the center. In one way, we are in the center of the world. Okay. Let's go to the next one. Still, no, let me see here. We're going up, go to the left. Yeah, those stairs. To the left.
Can I ask a question? None of those periods, there were always Jews here?
There's always almost all. There's always a small amount of Jews. Some of the periods were more, some there were written out. But there were always
There's a Yiddish font, there's a special font for each.
And there's like a font that is used in publishing newspapers in New York City on the other side. That's the font that I'll use. It's the same font that gets over
Can I ask another question? And why in the same spot did they decide to, where they had the temple, they decided to kill Jesus there, and then decide to create the mosque here? Why?
I don't think it was killed there.
Everything in the same spot.
Yes, I don't think it was killed. We'll see it when we go to the tower. I don't think it was killed in the same spot. It wasn't killed in the temple.
Okay. But they built that temple right
Temple,
next to
okay, we'll see it in the next. Right, Christian, we'll see it in the next station.
Oh, this glass. I forget who makes this glass.
it. It's wow.
What's it? Is it-
Chihuli? This is where the light
yeah.
In 2000, there was a Chihuli.
Did you? Yeah.
That's Chihuli?
Can't pronounce his name.
In 2000, there was a very big
Chihuli exhibit.
exhibit here, and this is what he left. He left this.
It's amazing. Chihuli este vidrio, ¿ves? Es vidrio soplado. Es una artista que hace exposiciones.
What do they do here?
A beautiful light show at night, and
Oh,
it shows
wow.
you, like, it's not just like a light show, it's like a movie with, it shows you the history. You watch it all on the walls. It's pretty cool.
It's a little slippery. Be careful.
Okay, someone asked me why is all the world concentrated on a small area in Jerusalem, where the first temple was, the second temple was, the Christian then built something there, the Muslims until today there's an Aqsa, a third place, the third holiest place for the Muslims. So the next three holes talk about that. They talk about why is Jerusalem holy to all the three big monotheistic religions. So for us, for the Jews, it all starts here. And you can see it in this mosaic. God tells Abraham, take your son Isaac and sacrifice him in the makom, the place. It doesn't say exactly where the place is. The Jewish tradition says it's here where the temples were. We'll see it later words when we are in the tower. We see we see it here. Then God said, take your son, your only son, whom you love, Isaac, and go to the region of Moriah. Sacrifice him here as a burnt offering on a mountain I will show you. Hamakom Asher Areka, the place where I'll show you. Doesn't say Jerusalem, it doesn't say the temple, but our tradition says it's here. So you can see here a mosaic. The mosaic is from the Byzantine, the Christians in Israel era, but it wasn't a synagogue. You can see the Byzantine art. You can see that on Abraham, you can see Abraham, you can see Isaac, you can see that he's going to sacrifice Isaac here. You can see the donkey, and he left to his servants, he left them back. And you can see the alternate sacrifice instead of Isaac. This is a Byzantine, from the Byzantine era. You can really see the same artistic motives as in the monasteries from the same, in the churches from the same era. You can see that Abraham has a halo above his head, the same way that the Christians paint their saints. You can see the symbolism of God. It's some kind of sun with the hands spread upward. You can see the dates. Again, it's something Byzantine. So it really was in the synagogue. You can see that what we learn here is that the same artist that made the churches made the synagogues. It didn't look just quite a sin to take the same artist to build our synagogues. Okay, now we'll go up. We'll see a little more about why the Israelis, why the Jews see Jerusalem as holy. Let's go up.
Are we missing something? Maybe she went to the bathroom.
She has a video of that you can send.
At night, but yeah, the light show.
Okay, we talked about Har Moriah is a place where Abraham sacrificed his son Isaac. At that time, it wasn't a Jewish city. Only David, I think it's David, only David conquers Jerusalem in some mysterious way, conquers Jerusalem from the Canaanites and builds his city here. So we can see here Michal, David's wife, when David comes to Jerusalem, and she's standing up, laughing at him. She thought he was very common, dancing before in the ceremonies to build Jerusalem. Later, he didn't build the first temple. The Bible says, Yadav mal'u damim. His hands were full of blood. So his son, that had less wars, King Solomon, built the second temple.
Wait, who built the first one?
Excuse me. The first temple was built by Solomon, sorry. Okay. So, we talked about the first temple. We'll see the second temple in a minute. In the same time in Israel, all over Israel, we still have Avodat Zarah. We still have people that are not worshiping in Jerusalem. They're worshiping in all kinds of places, all kinds of cities, and we found it all over Israel. Different kings in the first temple era tried to fight it and move all the sacrifice to Jerusalem. Okay, we said that the first temple, we were exiled by the Babylonians, and then King Koresh let us come back to Israel 70 years afterwards. So here you can see, it's not a real one, it's just looks like it. You can see a Koresh declaration that he says that we can come back to Israel, and then we build the second temple. So here we can see
Under the Babylonians?
under the Persian. Koresh started as a Babylonian, and then he was born in Persia, so he made it a Persian. But he was Babylonian and became a Persian.
And the Jews were never, Jewish people were never started after that?
Okay, this is the second version of the second temple. Second version of the second temple. The first version of the second temple, 70 years after the first one, was very small. They even say that people that saw the first temple and then saw the second temple started crying because it was so small. No, this is the second version. No, this one's the big one. So the first version of the second temple was very Antipas, Herod, a Jewish king, decided that he has to build something. He was from the Roman era, the Roman Empire. He wanted to build a temple that all the world will see. And he built the second version of that second temple. Now, he had several problems. The first problem was that Ha'amoria was very small. He didn't have place for his big temple. So what he has done, he built this big plateau on the mountain. We have this big plateau, and on this plateau, he built the second temple. So we can see it until today. We're still when we are in the tower. This all the thing exists until today. Not all that the temple isn't. Okay? You're going to the Western Wall. So you'll see, when you see the Western Wall is a small part, only this part of all this wall. From here until here. The whole wall exists. It's mostly covered by buildings that are built on it. Only this part is where we pray today. What else we can see? We can see this temple. We can see the stairs they're taking up. We can see the royal stuff that Horus built for the Romans, so they can sit here and see what's going on in the temple. Here we can see the temple. We see the part that everyone could get there. In this part, only Israelites that are pure could go in. In the inner place, only Kohanim and Levites could go in. And then the temple itself, it was the holy of the holiest, that no one could go in. Once a year with a very, with a real long ceremony, the priest, the great priest, only him could go in. He prayed for Israel. If he succeeded, it was okay. If he didn't succeed, he would die in the same place. If he would die, how did they take him out? He was tied in the back with a rope, and then if he died, they pulled him out. In that time, all the Israelis were standing out of the temple, waiting to see what's going to happen with this prayer. What else do we see here? We see the Antonia. When Herod built all the temple, the mount of the temple, and he built a fortress so the Romans can be here and still control what's happening inside the temple.
So it was built by Herod, but for the Jews?
Herod was a Jew.
Oh, okay.
Herod was a Jew. He was a Roman king, but he was a Jew.
He was crazy. He wants to build everything.
He was a Jew, but a Roman Jew?
He was appointed the king by the
Under the Romans.
supervision of Romans. Behave yourself, or you're not going to be a king.
Yeah, he wasn't the same. He wasn't
reminds me
the only
of
example. A lot of kings in that era were appointed by the Romans, but they were local, all over the world.
He built Caesarea.
He built a lot of Jews.
Masada.
Herod, Masada. He built.
Everything.
It was a little crazy. Okay.
Jesus was running away.
Okay. We said the end of the Second Temple era was when the Romans conquered Jerusalem and burnt the temple. So here we have a part of an arch that is in Rome that shows, that appreciates the conquering of the temple by the Romans. It was a very long war for the Romans. It was it hurt them. A lot of Romans were killed in this rebellion. So when Titus came back to Rome, they built an ark for him. And here we see this part. Now, what do we see here? You can see the menorah that was in the temple. They're taking it into Rome. You can see here, we're not sure if they were Israeli slaves, Jewish slaves that were taken to Rome, or Roman soldiers. We can see these chatzotzot, these trumpets, they were used in the temple. They're taking them to Rome. And you can see Titus. I'm not sure if it's this one or this one. So this is the way that it looks like today. Yeshiva University did research into this tablet, and then they identified the colors, that this was colored. So you can see here, in another minute, you'll see the original colors. Today we see it this way. Now, there's something interesting. My wife is a Roman, Jewish Roman from Rome. So what I'm telling you now is a real story. For 2,000 years, Jews didn't go under this ark in Rome. They didn't. Because it was an ark that showed that we lost Jerusalem. They didn't go under this ark. When did it change? 1947. United Nations decides that there will be an Israeli state. And that day, it wasn't that day, it was the same week. Harav Pareto, the rabbi of all the Roman Jews, gathers all the Roman Jews and all the Jews in Rome, and they go under this ark. They go on this ark, but this time they go from west to east, with their faces to Jerusalem, to show, Titus, you thought that you're conquering us, you changed the name, there's no more Judea, but here we're still here, and we're going to Jerusalem. This is a real story. My wife's family still remembers it. You can see the menorah, and I hear there's something interesting. The original menorah had 3 legs. You can see it here. This is the menorah to Hanukkah, but everywhere you see the menorah from the temple with 3 legs. If you look here, you won't see legs. You'll see some kind of box. What the researchers now think, they think this is what the box. They have two alternatives. Maybe this is the box that they moved the menorah to Rome. The second alternative is that they put here something with all kinds of Roman symbols. We're not really sure. What we are sure that this isn't the way the menorah looked like. Now, the menorah became the symbol for the state of Israel. You see it somewhere? Okay, I don't see it here, but sure we have it somewhere. But in the symbol of Israel, they took this part. They took it as it's shown here, with the box underneath. Well, they knew then, it's not a mistake, they knew then this isn't the original way the menorah looked like. But they decided to show, okay, Romans, you conquered us, we're back here, we're not ashamed of it, and we still have the state of Israel, so they chosen the Roman menorah, the Roman representation of the menorah, as a symbol of Israel. Okay, if you don't have questions, we'll go to the next hall, the Hall of Christianity. If you can send me. Yes. After he died. He died. No.
You know, in one of here interesting piece of trivia, when she was showing the menorah that they took to the Rome, Colosseum was built exactly after that. So they used Jewish slaves and all the gold that they brought from Israel to fund and build Colosseum. Because it's built by the same Vespasian and Titus, the ones that did the whole thing here. So, and until now they think that most of the stuff from the temple is still under Vatican
to the last week of Jesus.
Nobody's ever
I'm not sure, הקבוצה הזאת הם כולם יהודים?
על מה?
הקבוצה היהודית? הנוצרית?
כן, אבל יש כאן מעורבים...
מעורבים בסדר? אוקיי, לא, אני לא רוצה אם זה נוצרים, אני לא.
לא.
Okay, so this brings us to the last week of Jesus. I'll tell you about the last week of Jesus. Jesus was a Jew. He was in Jerusalem sometimes, but he acted from the north, from sort of Tiberia. He was born in Nazareth. He acted in the north of Kinneret. And then Pesach came. What do Jews do in the free, holy, festive days, in the Fir Regalim? All the Jews go to Jerusalem. So Jesus was a Jew. He wasn't Christian. He came to Jerusalem. He came from the east to Jerusalem. And this is the story, a little part of the story of his last week in Jerusalem. came up to Har Zatim. We'll see it, the Olive Mount. We'll see it when we're up there. And then he goes down, goes into the temple. He didn't like what he sees there. He sees there a canyon, he sees marketing, he sees stores, he sees people exchanging coins. He gets really mad, starts to destroy the stores. He says this is a temple, it should be holy, and that's all. Now the Kohanim saw that, they didn't like what they're seeing. He's arousing problems here. They come in the night, and then in the night, they come in the night. In the night, Jesus has this big supper with his 12 students. And some of the Christians say it was Leil HaSeder, some say it was a day before Leil HaSeder, but he had this big supper. In the supper he says, I know that you're going to betray me. And when he goes out of the supper, one of his students, one of his followers, marks him as and then the Kohanim, the army of the Kohanim, the policemen of the Kohanim, captures Jesus, bring him to the Kohen Gadol, to the great Kohen, and there was to the court. They didn't know exactly what to do with him, so they sent him to the Romans. And then I assume everyone heard about Pontius Pilatus. He was a Roman. He was a Roman left here to rule Israel. At the same time, he was Jerusalem. And then he had a trial. He tried Jesus and decided that he was rebellious against the Romans, and he should die. The way that the Romans killed their rebels was crucifixions. Jesus takes his cross with him is taken to the Golgotha. That's the place where he was crucified through what we call today the Via Dolorosa, and he was crucified there with another 2 thieves. He was taken off the cross and he was buried. Here you can see the Holy Sepulchre. The first version of the Holy Sepulchre. It doesn't look like this today. 2 days afterwards, we said it was Passover. So it was Leil HaSeder. The day after Leil HaSeder, his mother and some women come to see where Jesus is. A saint, this is by the Christian tradition, the saint comes and asks them, what are you looking for him? He's already not here in his grave. He woke up and he still acted for another 40 days until he went up to the heaven. This is the first version of the Holy Sepulchre. Today it changed a little, but it still looks about the same. You can see the dome. This dome still exists. This dome doesn't look like it, but it's still, that's a Golgotha. It's still, it looks very similar till today. This exhibit is something that I, as a resident of Jerusalem, very much like. For Christians that come here, they're always very confused. Now, today maybe less, but they're confused because they see that there's all kinds of Christians. A regular Christian doesn't know that there's such a variety of Christians. Let's say if I live in Italy, they only know Catholics. They know there's Protestants, but they never saw them. If I live in Germany, I would see Protestants, I wouldn't know there's Catholics. In Jerusalem, you can see so many different varieties of Christians. For here, example, is the Russian Orthodox Church. You can see them. If we look out the window here, you'll see these nuns, the Catholics, the Terra Santa. They're still here. They're even a very big section of the Christians in Jerusalem. And like this, we have all kinds of Christians. If you take 15 minutes and stand in the Jaffa Gate near us, you'll see a lot of these kinds of outfits, a lot of these kinds of Christians. It's part of being a resident of Jerusalem. Is there's all kinds of people, all kinds of religions. Even in the religion, there's all kinds of sections. Okay, let's go out and see the rest.
Yeah. Is this authentic or is this like a production?
They call it David Tower, but it's not from David period, you know? It's only from one, it's not like a tradition.
You want a picture of that?
Oh, yeah, do you want to see how much we need?
Okay. רגע, עוד שעה. אוקיי, אז בואי נעלה עכשיו. אוקיי. What we'll do now, I'll talk a minute about the archaeology, then we'll go up and see Jerusalem from above. One of the best viewpoints of Jerusalem.
The best.
Okay, the best viewpoint of the old city of Jerusalem. What we see here is all kinds of archaeological things that were found here. What we see, this was the original. Someone asked whether this is what of this? No, it doesn't go that far. One of
Adam.
this is real, and one of this is a
Adam,
reproduction.
his answer. Adam. His
Yeah.
answer.
So most of it is a reproduction, but here we see the ancient wall of Jerusalem. Jerusalem, this is the Ottoman wall, this is the ancient wall of Jerusalem. From the first temple, part of it is from the first temple, we can identify which parts. Most of it is from the second temple, the Hashmonaim, and this is original. There's different parts here from the Byzantine time, from the Ottoman time. But this is the wall, the original wall. Okay, what we'll do now, we'll go up. We don't have a lot of time. We'll go up, see the view from there. And then let's go around and fast forward.
I think I only did the next year.
Okay, before everyone comes here, this is Verrocchio's David. The Italian government decided to donate a David to the Metzudat David museum. The first idea was Michelangelo's David. What's the problem with Michelangelo's David?
It's naked?
It's naked. It won't go in Jerusalem. So then they changed it and they bought this Verrocchio David. Looks more decent than these people.
That is beautiful.
You don't see it? It's perfect.
Both of them are beautiful.
Big steps. Wow. Smells like burning. You think they were pumping in that smell, or do you think it was original?
This way, this way.
Did it smell like something was burning in there?
It does. Or something was burnt.
Or something was burnt there, yeah. Maybe.
Here is one outside. Okay, we're going up. Up.
Там кнопочка была. Там кнопочка была ставить.
You want to know what's going on? You're going to see like a black line. Everything below it is original, and everything above it was built to replicate. So you'll see that all the blocks that are aligned, and everything below is real. It's the wall. Remember that last thing? That it went all the way around and then the holy temple was in the middle of the trees, whatever? So it's the wall. The Dome of the Rock. That we're not allowed to go to.
Oh, wow. All right, I'm ending the video. 47 minutes.